meeting to order. Thank you. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I wanted to point out to the audience that we have two opportunities for public comment. And the first is right now, and that's going to be limiting yourself to comments on the items that are on the agenda. You have up to 3 minutes to talk about them. So specifically, if you've got something on the agenda to talk about. And then the second opportunity will be for things, for any comments in general, and those will be at the end of the meeting.
Call to order the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry, everybody. I get too excited talking about public comment since I actually enjoy that. Call the meeting to order, and I would like to start us with a moment of silence. If you can stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'd welcome people up for
It's right on front of you.
public comment. I get it, but my computer's not working.
Mr. Mayor, can we also mention
roll
the
call.
services? I'm sorry. I already did the
Let's do a roll call. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Belcheck,
Here.
Commissioner Kilgore,
Present.
Commissioner Asasi,
Present.
Commissioner Robbins,
Present.
Commissioner Purdue,
Present.
Commissioner Knight,
Here.
Mayor LeGrand.
Present. And Commissioner Isasi, you had a question?
I was, as you were moving to public comment, I was just reminding about our services, our interpretation services that we have available.
Right. We are now going to move to public comment, and if our interpreter could stand up so someone can, there she is, great. So we have an interpreter present at least for Spanish language. If you could come up front, perhaps, ma'am, and then also say what I just said, because there's no point in having an interpreter if no one knows that there's an interpreter.
Sandra Nickel on behalf of the Hispanic Center. I will be interpreting for you today, English to Spanish, Spanish to English for the public comments, and then there are two people in the back of that room that are interpreting everything into Spanish that will be available to you online.
Could you say that in Spanish?
Oh, sorry. Mi nombre es Sandra Nickel, estoy representando el Centro Hispano. Hay interpretación de español a inglés, inglés a español, y hay un lugar en la parte de atrás donde se está interpretando todo para que usted lo pueda observar en línea. Si necesita mi ayuda, me estaré en la parte de atrás, así que venga al micrófono y yo le ayudaré.
Thank you. And public comments. You give us your name before when you start, that'd be great.
Cool. I'm D. Jones.
And the agenda item you're talking about.
I'll do that. So I'm D. Jones, stay at 967 Tamarack Avenue. I'm going to be speaking on fiscal committee, item 3. So I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. A couple days ago, I was on Fox 17 with the Youth Justice Influence Esports League, a esports league that I developed in partnership with 17th Circuit Court. I was just speaking on educating the youth on finances, banking, life insurance, a lot of things that they traditionally would learn in traditional education setting. It was also cool to have one of the kids because of my initiative that I developed here with Kent County. I actually been helping the youth get off of probation, and that story got a lot of attention. We actually got to get our pictures of us going to the Detroit Lions facility in Detroit, bringing kids from here, Kent County, to Detroit. Cool thing that D. Jones did. So I just don't want you guys to forget that D. Jones does evidence-based programming that has actually helped change legislation. I just got invited to the United Nations to go speak. I didn't want to say that on this part of the public comment, but I'm going to be a global business leader, and I just don't want you guys to forget the impact that esports and video games can have. I'm also working with Comic-Con and the largest K-12 esports organization in our state. We actually got 80 PCs from Dell to do an esports competition in Ballroom C at the DeVos place. So you guys know where my stance on education is. If I could, I'd be the largest giver to the GRPS Foundation instead of the DeVosses. Instead of Doug and Maria DeVos, it'd be D. Jones, equitably curating opportunities for our students. Good opportunities, equitable opportunities that does not suppress education, that does not push people to do things like, cut funding from public education or the Department of Education and try to privatize our, education system and just push a religion on people where I believe we coexist. I believe people believe in what they believe in and they should have that choice. So like I said, I just don't want you to guys forget that you guys are getting a lot of funding. I've been coming here for 7 years, and I'm going to go speak to the United Nations at the headquarters for the Youth Social Economic Forum. I have a letter from the president from that. I know how impressive that is, and I know that I'm here in the local community, the second worst city for economic development in America, and I believe I am the first black person that I only know that's already done black history here that helped our school district build 6 esports labs get invited to the United Nations. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Reverend Forrest Hoppy and a resident of the 3rd Ward here in the city. And I'm just here to speak on behalf and supporting the proposal to expand the Brownfield projects for the development on Eastern Avenue by Messiah Baptist, M Village. Just want to share my support for affordable housing and the project that Messiah Baptist is proposing. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further public comment, going once, going twice, move on to approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 28th?
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we move on to petitions and communications. First is
Communication received from Kyle Kimball regarding his resignation from the Board of Review,
received and
referred to committee.
referred to committee. Where are we? Sorry. Pardon me. Yep, referred to committee on appointments.
Communications 1551 received urging the City Commission to vote to make Grand Rapids a sanctuary city.
Received and filed.
Communication received including a community statement of resistance to mass deportation.
Received and filed.
Communications 17 received expressing opposition to making the City of Grand Rapids a sanctuary city.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Tim Kelly, President and CEO of Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. regarding 427 Market Avenue option agreement.
Received and filed. And Madam Clerk, we now move on to report from city officers.
A comptroller's warrant report for the period of January 14th, 2025 through January 27th, 2025 in the amount of $33,719,544.42 and monthly travel report.
Received and filed.
A treasurer's report for period of January 10th, 2025 through January 27th, 2025.
Received and filed. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda and report of standing committees. For those in the audience and on television, this is a time-saving mechanism which has got its trade-offs. It means that things that passed unanimously through committee don't get further discussion here if they go onto the consent agenda. Now, just so everyone knows, anyone on this commission could ask for something to be removed from the consent agenda, even if there was unanimous support, so that there could be broader discussion. That being noted, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I believe we have no items removed from consent.
have
We do.
one item.
Sorry, one item removed from consent, and that would be where? Got it. Okay. One ordinance, one item that was removed from consent to agenda, and that was the Commissioner Usasi request that we discuss the city's legislative priority agenda for 2025.
So moved.
Mayor, I think that didn't get unanimous vote, as I recall, from council.
Correct.
So that's the reason it was.
Right, right.
I
Okay.
didn't have to move it to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Commissioner Usasi,
Okay, thank you. Right, I was trying to cover myself if I had to. Okay, so colleagues, today, after the work of the legislative committee and bringing it back to the full body, we were able to offer a few amendments as it related to our legislative agenda. For purposes of this, I'll just share that we do this legislative agenda to clearly outline what our positions and interests of the city are, and also to give some prioritization, and then so individuals can really see what are the things that we're working on both a state and a federal level. But overall, our agenda is to promote the city's vision, to strive to be nationally recognized as an equitable, welcoming, innovative, and collaborative city, and really working for a high quality of life for all. So the two amendments that were voted on, but it was not a unanimous vote, was around just changing some language as it related to really, again, tying in the work that we're doing with the welcome plan, which we heard an update there. So we're able to reflect not just one aspect of those who might be here in our community in a different immigration status, but really recognizing not only individuals' work, but their access piece is how they connect in community, how they connect into business. And then as it related to constitutionality and really just saying what we will certainly uphold as the city. So those were the two items, and just present those again.
Any further discussion? Yes.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Mayor, appreciate it. Just to add some additional context, the reason that it was removed from consent was because I did not support this at committee of the whole, and not because I don't think there's some really good priorities that the city can be advocating for within this document, but just specifically with the item of constitutionality. I take the Constitution very seriously. I know all of my colleagues do, and we all took an oath to uphold the Constitution upon taking this office, and so my concern around that language is just that I don't want to give the impression that the city is the determinant of what is constitutional or unconstitutional. And so, as we work through a very different changing political landscape, I think that's just something that I don't want to give the impression that we determine, and I don't want to put the city in a position that could make us liable. So for those reasons, I won't support, but of course, very much so respect my colleagues for disagreeing.
Great. So unless there's further discussion, I'd ask for a motion to, in fact, approve the resolution for the, pardon?
It's a roll call vote.
Oh, roll call vote on approving that legislative agenda. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kilgore,
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
No.
Commissioner Perdue,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Belcheck,
Yes.
Mayor LaGrand.
Yes. Go ahead, sorry.
It passes.
Thank you. Moving along now to, I believe we have a motion from Commissioner Knight to suspend the rules.
I don't know if
You
I
can speak
motioned
to
it.
this.
I'll make the motion to
I'll make the motion. Well,
suspend the rules.
I'll make a
and
motion.
have this walk.
Support.
Yeah. Commissioner Knight, if you can perhaps give some context for the pending motion here.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is, the subject of this is Buchanan versus, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, Wuis, and the City of Grand Rapids. This happened on February 11, 2025, the matter of Abdul Buchanan versus Todd Wuis and City of Grand Rapids, a federal lawsuit presented to the City Commission in executive session. Settlement of this matter and all potential claims related to was recommended in the amount of $65,000.
Thank you. Don't believe we need a roll call vote for suspending, roll call vote for suspending rules. So all in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution passes, and I will then move right along. Is there a motion to, in fact, approve the settlement?
Make a motion.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay. Voice vote also on approving the settlement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. That brings us,
Is this a roll call vote?
Yeah, I think it
Is
is.
it?
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have the little high sign there. Sorry,
I
folks.
think because we don't usually have these ones, and so just that piece was missed, but I do think those two do need to be roll call votes.
I don't know if suspended rules does, but you think suspended rules has to be a roll call?
No, it's
vote?
not.
Not
Roll call?
the
Oh,
suspend, but
just the resolution.
The resolution.
Okay. Thank you, our volunteer parliamentarians. So we will back that up, backing the bus up and asking for a a roll call vote on approving the settlement.
Sure thing. Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Perdue,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Belcheck,
Yes.
Commissioner Kilgore,
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi,
Yes.
Mayor LaGrand.
Yes. I think that passes. Now we move on to a number of public hearings. And is Ms. Vernero here?
Mayor, as she comes up, if it is okay with the commission, she can cover both items,
Correct.
1 and 2 together.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. So both items, number 1 and number 2, as we can see on the agenda, relate to 1007 Wealthy and an Oprah district for that property.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. And I want to just also mention I've got Bradley Vanaklasa here on behalf of the project. Bradley, thank you. Which I will invite to comment on the project as well. But this is a project between the Meanwhile and the Electric Cheetah along Wealthy. This is first floor activation and activating 4 residential units in a currently vacant building using the Oprah district and exemption abatement. This is a building that comprises of 1,800 square feet along the first floor, and we have $700 and $435 in construction costs. I wanted to highlight with some enthusiasm the inclusion plan goals for subcontractor, aspirational goals across the minority, women, and micro-local businesses at 30%. And I also want to comment on the term of the 10-year Oprah and the construction start in 2025. Bradley, would you like to come up and comment on anything in particular?
Hi, nothing in particular. Just wanted to thank you guys for continued support on this project and looking forward to reactivating the building. Any questions for me on it?
Well, thank you. That has been a sad little part of Wealthy Street for as long as I've been engaged in the Wealthy Street neighborhood. I do have a wish question for you.
Sure.
Since I know this building very well. And I was going to make some joke about how it looks like you're shrinking it according to the pictures. Because it
Same
looks
size.
Yeah. And I assume same windows on the second floor, but boy, it sure looks like you started with a 40-foot building and wound up with a 20-foot building. There's some sag to the center of the front part.
Yeah.
You got any plans to address that? I can see that you're, as proposed, it looks like you're largely going to keep the storefront intact, even down to the level of the panels. And I don't know how accurate the drawing is, but if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I actually got approval for exterior improvements through the Historical Society already. It's going to be all clad wood on the front and aluminum storefront windows, and we're sticking with same trim sizes for the wood that needs to be replaced. But yes, that overhang is going to have to be completely rebuilt with the same architectural features it has now.
Great. Great. Looks beautiful. Thanks. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Belcher?
I just want to say thank you for your continued commitment. We had a long discussion today about using local businesses, minority businesses, and women-owned businesses. That's come up at several of our standing committees as well. So I know that there will be other people on the hearings today that are sometimes we see a lot of aspirational results or goals, I should say. So just throwing that out there to continue the conversation, that we continue to find them and expand who we're working with.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. We did it in 2000. I did it in 2012 at 644 Bridge Street as well. That was an Oprah program, so it turned out good, and I like the program. It's great.
If I can ask you one other granular question, this is kind of self-indulgent, but I assume that the upstairs is vacant now, and what was the past configuration of the upstairs? You're going to get 4 units on the second floor?
Yeah, it'll be 4 units on the second floor now. They'll all be 1 bedrooms. It's vacant, correct? There aren't even utilities in the building. It's stripped down to the studs on the inside. So past layout in the past, we saw anything from ads reading 4 apartments up to, when I was most recently in there, hard to tell, maybe one large space with multiple bedrooms. So I'm not real sure how it was used last.
Great. Well, love to see a small application of another 4 housing units going into town. So
Yeah,
again, thank you.
great.
Right. And I guess we'd like to, anyone in the public want to comment on the project, or I want to allow for opportunity for that? Seeing no one, thank you.
Good.
Moving along, Ms. Renero, let's have a, pardon? Right, got to refer that to committee of the whole. So, moving on to our next public hearing, this is for the Brownfield plan that was discussed in earlier public comment, and that's the M Village project. So, Ms. Renero.
Yes, thank you. Okay, this is along Eastern Ave. This will be 70 residential units across 2 different phases, with the existing buildings on site being demolished. The first phase will comprise of 10 duplexes, so 20 for-sale units, and this is tapping traditional brownfield eligible activities, as well as, specific to infrastructure, as well as the housing TIF component, and looking at that potential rent loss allocation of dollars to the tune of $5,176,149 in eligible activities. Want to call some attention here to the partnership with the Southtown Corridor Improvement Authority. This building is in an existing tax increment financing district, and so there have been initial conversations with the authority about foregoing their capture and providing it back to the developer for their investment to repay eligible activities, which we candidly haven't seen a lot of, and I'd like to really see more of, cross-pollinating between our corridor improvement authorities and our real estate tools. So exciting opportunity there. And they haven't made a final determination, but just there have been preliminary conversations. I'd also like to just hone in on, again, the aspirational subcontractor participation goals here. We've got 35% across MLBEs, WBEs, and minority business-owned subcontractors. And finally, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority participated in the form of an emerging developer grant in the amount of $171,225 at their January BRA meeting. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions from commissioners? Anyone here from the project or anyone in the public want to make comment at this point?
Yes, please. I thought that we have, yes, I'm sorry. I meant to introduce you, please.
Good afternoon.
Yes, please, come in.
I'm Deborah Cross with M Village, so I'd be happy to answer any questions. In addition to just saying thank you for our time here today, been before and have expressed that during this process, while we wait for the funding and all those complex processes to take place, we are already building in a sense that we're really working aggressively to build community with the neighbors around our 1865 location. We have recently launched our community essentials pantry that we will offer each month to residents in and around the neighborhood. We have a community clothing closet on site that has been in operation for a while, where we have heavily discounted clothing and other dates where people can come and shop for free. We're also happy to have just recently launched a senior spaces where, again, right on site, seniors can come for engaging activities to try to offset any isolation or other ills that they might be going through. And lastly, we are going to launch a Build a Brand series where we will help folks wanting to learn how to kind of create some more economic streams for themselves, young entrepreneurs, work with our youth. So we are building in the process, and we look forward to the next stage where the brick and mortar actually come into play. So thank you.
Thanks. Well, that's all great to hear on top of, I'll give a little advertisement for this. The M here, I think, is Messiah Baptist. And so this is really exciting, and I hope it spurs a lot more engagement in the faith community generally. But this is really exciting to see a specific faith community leaning into addressing housing needs in the community. So I'm just grateful to the community that gave birth to this idea and this project, and it's great to see it moving forward. Those of you who can't visualize that chunk of Eastern Avenue, it can use some excitement, it can use some investment, and so it's great to see that going on. And I also think it's great to hear the acknowledgement. I hope that, I don't want to lean in and make anybody's decision for them, but TIFs are about commercial activity and supporting commercial activity, and this is not commercial activity. So the idea that a commercial corridor might actually lean into helping their customer base, because of course businesses need customers, and your most likely customers are the ones that can walk to you or roll out of their door to you. So this is going to create more density in that community, and so it's going to tick just about every one of our aspirational boxes for the community. So I'm really, really glad to see this, and I'm proud of all of the folks who have done this work, and on behalf of the city, just thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyone else want to, Commissioner Belichick?
I just want to say thank you as well, but also to remind folks that first of all, let me back up. I had the opportunity to be part of one of your very first community engagement sessions that you had, and I want to say thank you for doing that, for working with the staff to go through the Develop With Us process. It's great to see developers doing that, and to highlight a little bit, piggybacking off what Mayor said, you are an emerging developer, and we have an emerging developer program so that we can get more people, more different kinds of people and groups interested in putting in housing and different needs that we need in the community. So I just want to highlight you guys for doing that, lift you up. Thank you for that. And to remind folks that this, as I recall, is designed specifically as a workforce development housing, and for what, we use the word affordable, but when you look at this breakdown, we're really looking at people who are working. And, these are the teachers, these are the janitors, these are the people who are feeding our families and doing the hard work of making sure our institutions, organizations, businesses run. And that, if I recall correctly, one of your stories, if you want to highlight it, is that you had heard from your own congregation and whatnot, why this was needed. Would you like to speak to that momentarily?
Sure, and that is true. Thank you so much for your comments. One of the things that we operate out of Messiah is benevolence ministry, and each Tuesday we accept applications and meet with families who are going through some of the ills that you mentioned and having issues. One of the main things that we've heard over and over again has been rent and mortgages, and and the housing crises. And from our congregation, as well as from people all around our neighborhood and city, we had lots of inquiries and have helped a lot of people in that area, and that was really what prompted us to go beyond what we were already doing with some of the couple rentals that we had already, but we really wanted to make a much more greater impact, so thus in Village.
Thanks again. So, thank you. Not seeing anyone else waiting for the microphone, I think that we can end this public hearing and refer this to the Committee of the Whole. Finally, well, not finally, penultimately, we have a public hearing on another exciting project, and that is the West Michigan Hispanic Chambers hole in the ground at this point, although it looks much better in a drawing.
Yes, and I just want to acknowledge that we've got Brad Lackman with Honor Construction, Kaylee Marino with the West Michigan Hispanic Chamber, and Elizabeth Masserang with SME here on behalf of the project. Okay, so this is a $9.3 million total development cost investment to demolish an existing building and put up a two-story, 12,600 square foot building to house the West Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and their headquarters. Project is expected to be LEED certified and tapping traditional brownfield eligible activities with demolition, site prep, public infrastructure, and lead and asbestos abatement. This will go out the full term for a brownfield plan, which is 30 years. And I want to just call attention again to the inclusion plan and the aspirational subcontractor participation goals here at 30% across the WBEs, MLBEs, and minority business enterprises. And then also on top of that 30%, we've got about 10%, 140,000 dedicated to subcontractor professional services. And so we're seeing more than just the subcontractors here. We're seeing it in professional services for that inclusion plan. And then finally, this project also received an emerging developer grant in January at the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority board meeting. With that, I'd welcome anyone from the project team to come on up, please.
Well, thank you, mayors and commissioners. I'm Brad Lackman with Honor Construction, and that was a good synopsis of the project. But we're planning to demolish that one-story-old 1950s industrial headquarters building and putting in this new, what will be a great cornerstone for this Godfrey Avenue corridor and all the growth that's going to come along with it, and a hub for the Hispanic businesses in the area, right in their area. So we're very excited about it as kind of a keynote for that parcel and for that property. It's a beautiful building. Rossetti, the architects, have done just an amazing job getting input from the community, from the staff, from all the shareholders and team members, and we think it's going to be just a beautiful new building. So open to diving into any details that you'd like. We have the whole team here to answer whatever you need.
Any questions? Commissioner Robbins?
Not a question, just a comment. I'm thrilled for you all. I think, like you mentioned, Godfrey's got a lot of exciting things going on from this factory yards, road reconstruction, resurfacing too. So, I think everything that's going on too is done in a way that's very engaging and honoring of the neighborhood down there too. And I hear nothing but positive feedback from residents about all that's going on. So, just appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments? Commissioner Isasi?
Just looking at this, I don't really have any questions because I've been hearing about it in Brownfield and the things that you all are sharing. But it says anticipated project completion winter 2025 on this slide.
Yep. We're not completely locking into that.
I was going to say, wow.
How much do you charge? It's not that far off, but that is our goal. If it ends up being the first quarter of 26, that's understandable too. But the schedule we have and the aggressive work we've done in the front and measuring twice to cut once has really gone a long way. So we're excited about the aggressive schedule.
Well, I'm not sure if Commissioner Isasi had the same question I did, which is it's winter 2025 right now. So you're talking about like March 1, like 2-3 weeks from now?
Yeah, it's actually, 60 days, no problem. I mean, you guys got to make a decision, then we can just run it.
Wait.
Next winter of 2025, this winter.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold on. Wait, I'm confused, Brad. Hold on. Okay, construction start.
Construction will start in the next couple months.
Okay.
We'll demolish in March, and then we'll start erection and new build and stuff like that in May. And then it will go to the end of the year, so winter, December of 25.
Okay, that's confusing, I'm just going to say.
Yes.
So,
well, thank you. We will fix that.
That's my feedback.
Yes.
So, thanks.
We're not that aggressive with the schedule. Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be
Brad is. I'm not.
It's going to be a big cardboard cutout.
Yes. It'll look great.
Sorry. Commissioner Belcheck.
I would love to hear from your other colleagues on the architecture of the plan for how this is going to serve the business community, and as a cornerstone, as I understand it, for the other commercial properties that will be available. So kind of maybe a vision of how that lays out.
Sure. Kaylee can speak to kind of the operations of what we're going to do out of that building, which I think would be great for everybody to hear if you're interested. And then Elizabeth for any of the environmental stuff, but I can respond to the rest after that. Go ahead.
I was nervous on the architecture. I was like, that's not me. No, we are really excited to continue to support Latino entrepreneurs, such as events like we've got one coming up this week, our Mercadito. There's different ways that we are supporting Latino entrepreneurs in the back end operations and helping them to grow their businesses, helping them to be part of the thriving economy of West Michigan. we do a lot of trainings in our building, and we cannot sustain the amount of people that are trying to come in there to get training, to get support, to connect to resources, and that's what this building is going to provide. So in addition to that, also training talent, helping to connect Latino college students, Latino early career professionals to be able to move up within their career and make sure there's that representation and that equitable advancement across the city overall. So this goes from trainings to business being able to pop up if they don't have brick and mortar available already, so they can continue to grow their businesses. If it's connecting them with funding resources, connecting them with other entrepreneurial support organizations, being able to host that different space, having a commercial kitchen, having kitchen space available for training, having an event center, room for our staff. I don't know if y'all have been to our headquarters, but like we are bursting at the seams with staff. We don't have enough room in conference to meet the business needs. So we collaborate across the city to be able to meet those current needs, but our doors are just bursting. We need this space to be able to accommodate the growing entrepreneurship that is representative of Latino business owners currently.
Great. Thanks.
I would say architecturally, this is a precast panels with as much glass as we could fit in there. There will be a pickleball court in the back for everybody with that addiction. And then there will be, as was said, a catering kitchen and event center that could be leased out. Second floor has from training rooms to boardrooms to be trained out to phone booths and rentable offices. So it's really got a little bit of everything for the community, including a podcasting center and a kids room and some stuff that brings in the cultural side also. So I can dive deeper if you'd like, but.
That's a really great review, and it's always helpful to remember, like for some people in the community watching this or participating in this, it's always a great chance to remind folks of how we're actually serving folks and doing the work when we're not just passing buildings to pass buildings or discuss buildings to discuss, they're serving a purpose. So thanks both of you for sharing, and if you do want to speak to the LEED certification.
Only if there's questions, but
Okay.
she's going to help out, or SME has been a great help in getting us through not only the Brownfield, but all the other environmental challenges we've had.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Anyone from the community want to comment on this, other than the pastor already did? Thank you then. And that will be referred to the committee of the whole. And finally, we have a public hearing. Ms. Renero, you can take it away on the development that looks like it's actually in Walker.
Yes. And I have Tony Van Gessel with Rockford Construction here, available for any questions that you might have. This project in the fall went through commission to amend a 425 agreement, which ultimately is a partnership with the city of Walker to access Brownfield tools, mainly infrastructure here. And so that agreement was amended in the fall through commission, the mechanics here, and now we're looking at the Brownfield plan amendment, which is actually the tool that helps reimburse the investment. And so this agreement was put in place in 2016. And it was amended in 2018 to extend the term and allow for an additional $6.2 million in infrastructure expenses. But that's really the meat and potatoes here. Is this is helping activate infrastructure, which spurs more business. And so this amendment is allowing for another small investment on infrastructure to the tune of $290,400 and extending that Brownfield term, which can go out 30 years to 2042. In this case, it's going out 27 years. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have along with Tony.
Any questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Belichick?
Sorry. I just noticed that this is a 200-acre land. Is that what I'm reading here correctly? Oh, that's...
Yes, this is the project in its entirety, since the 16 initiation is a 200-acre piece of property. This is expanding that to include, I believe, in additional infrastructure. Where did Tony go?
So I guess, yes, what are the development plans on this property for which the Brownfield is being requested? I guess I'm not exactly clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian.
Hi, Commission. Christian Borg, Economic Development Office. The additional infrastructure improvements are on Walker Avenue, which include a curb and gutter. The City of Walker, as a part of the additional private investments and approvals for those private investments, I think of Falk, Flexco, Ascent Cabinetry, and many other companies. I believe there's more than 1,000 jobs at this site, which was subject to a PA 425 land share agreement with the City of Grand Rapids to enable the Brownfield tools. For example, the street, Northridge, and all of the utilities in that are being paid for and reimbursed by the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. That's some backstory. Currently, the City of Walker, as a condition of the additional private investment approvals, the additional site investments, asked Rockford to make investments into Walker Avenue in the upper left-hand corner of the screen there, specifically curb and gutter, where one did not previously exist. So that is it's taken about a year now to get to this process, but this is the final step in the process to allow the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority the ability to reimburse Rockford Construction to the amount of that $290,400, in addition to the $6.2 million which have already been invested at the site to enable this 200 acres to be able to have all of the private development that it's benefited from. Following the public infrastructure reimbursement to Rockford, expenses that were already incurred, this land will go back to the City of Walker, and the PA 425 land share agreement will cease to exist.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Christian.
Sorry, thank you. Anybody in the public wishing to comment on this? Okay, then we will refer this to committee of the whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this brings us to the second round of public comments opportunity, and this is not restricted, nor is it restricted by making a first round of public comments.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones.
Point of information, Mr. Mayor. I have a question surrounding translation services. I'm wondering if we ever discuss further of giving folks who have translation services more time.
We've not discussed that. I think that's probably a committee policy issue that it certainly would be something we might put on the agenda for discussion. At this point, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have a simple 3-minute policy. And the other night, I made an on-the-fly exception to that nobody argued with. But I think it's certainly worth having a conversation about that in the future.
Just to clarify, we've done this before, and we've always given them double the amount of time. So we've given them 6 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the informal rule that we have to give.
I think so.
Okay, thank you all.
Mr. Mayor, if I may add to that, thank you, Commissioner, for bringing that up. I brought that up to City Manager in a follow-up meeting to last week. I think that's important to note. I would also say, I think this is something to go back to the contractor that we're working with who's providing these services, because we're also really going to be asking, we have our policies, but would be looking for what is the best practice, since they are, essentially the subject matter experts. And I think in this case, it's the Hispanic Center. So I think if we could also hear from them, again, to me, that's like a quality of service piece. We certainly need to outline our policy, but if we can then respond to something of what is the best practice, especially given, different levels of information. So thank you.
Yeah. I think it's worth a little more discussion, partly because there's a difference, for example, between simultaneous translation and sequential translation, and some of those take more time than others. So I hope the Commission's comfortable in general until we change things to give double time. I think that sounds perfectly reasonable to me. But Mr. Jones, if you need translation, please let us know.
I'm all right. How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. I just want to read a couple lines on getting invited to the United Nations. So this is on record right here. It says, I am pleased to invite you to attend the 2025 United Nations Economic Social Youth Forum held in person from the 15th to the 17th of April, the United Nations headquarters in New York. Theme: Youth Forefront, Leveraging Science and Social Inclusion for Sustainable Development. How you doing? I'm just a passionate entrepreneur that's trying to put my city on, that's in one of the worst cities for economic development. I'm very true to myself. I'm not a fake person. I really don't like fake people because I'm really genuine and true and 24/7 D Jones. I don't care where I am or anything like that. I'm just a true person to who I am. And I'm happy to be alive because I was speaking to you guys a little bit ago about my cousin passing, and as I was actually coming back here, someone told me to get up. I looked up and somebody was driving, and we actually slid on some black ice and crashed into a rail, and the car was totally totaled, and my nephew landed on me. So I'm actually happy to be here because I could have died a couple days ago with a completely total car. My body still hurts. I got a sprained ankle and all of that stuff, but that's not going to stop me from going after this vision because I got a lot of passion and love, and I know I can lead the globe. And I said I was going to be a global business leader a couple commissions ago, and people probably was like, is he gonna really be global? And then I just read a letter from the president of the United Nations. And then I also like to thank Lisa Knight. She came into my esports league and spoke to the kids on probation and surveillance, and she has goals of eventually developing a music program for young girls. And I believe you should speak to Frank and still develop that initiative because I believe you can do beautiful things. All right, cool. I think you need to keep doing that and keep striving for that. And thank you for coming to speak to the kids. They definitely appreciated you coming to speak to them and letting them know your story. And I'll never forget that. Thank you. But I'm just very thankful to just, and pioneer, put our city on. I got invited to another state, all expenses paid, to go speak to 20 cities across the country. I'll be doing my esports activations in April. And then a couple days after that, I'll be flying to speak to the United Nations. And then I come back here. I'm pretty sure other events will unfold. And then in November during Comic-Con, I'll be doing the esports regional finals with colleges and all of that stuff. Also, we just launched a cryptocurrency, a PFT, a cryptocurrency, Play Fuel token in Detroit. And Detroit is the only first largest city to actually accept cryptocurrencies for fees, taxes, and all. I'm going to be a billionaire one day, but I'll be sure I give back. And the people that I like in politics, I'll be sure I'll fund your campaign one day. Thank you.
Hello, friends. Mark from Grand Rapids. I'm going to start out by saying, of all these public hearings, beware of the tariffs coming up, because some costs might be pretty high once it's all said and done. Target, McDonald's, Walmart, you three have been put on notice. I suggest the black consumers who shop those establishments, I suggest you boycott them because they got rid of their DEI initiatives, because they kissed the rings of the orange felon. It's not good. And Meyer, if you pull that stunt, you will be on that list. You don't want to see your stocks go down. You don't want to lose no money. So I suggest you don't do it. I suggest you get a membership from Costco, you can afford it, and do your business there. And make sure you tell them you mean business. You can't have crap like that going all over the place. And that's for the individuals who live in the areas where there are the water main breaks and all that stuff. I feel for you. I wouldn't stay in no building with all that mold in it. It's not good. You know, you don't want to be like down in the Shadow community of Alabama, where flooding all over the place, houses sinking into the ground, rodents and water moccasins swimming all over in standing water. And that wasn't because of water main break. That was because of a highway which was widened and elevated to a point where where water is flowing into their community, courtesy of the Orange Man, his first term, no less. They should be made whole, because except for the water moccasins, that can't happen. That should have been fixed a long time ago. It's time for you to do something about it, and do it now. Thank you. Boycott Tesla.
Thank you. Seeing no one else who wants to make public comment, I would now turn it to my colleagues for comments. Commissioner Isasi.
Thank you, Mayor. Nice to see you all, and it was nice to have a celebration of Black History Month with the proclamation, and then thank you for the comments you had, Mayor, about M Village. I was Commissioner Kilgore and Commissioner Knight and I and City Manager got to go to, and Commissioner Belcheck. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm looking one way and not looking the other way. We were able to be at the Giants Awards last week, and Pastor Smith was one of the honorees. And when I tell you that all of Messiah was there getting up to celebrate, and I think your comments about what they're doing as a church is very compelling, and hopefully will continue to be a model. So congratulations. I just wanted to share a couple of other thoughts. Really, appreciation today for a number of the things that we worked on. The conversation about the proposed potentially the land option with perhaps some LIHTC credits, I think was a good discussion. I know that there are a lot of things that are unknown, but it's always good to be able to put out another project and point to that, and hopefully have individuals some really strong experience, particularly seeking out those LIHTC dollars. And then just thank you all for the conversation around the legislative agenda. Appreciate that. Appreciate your comments, Commissioner Robbins. I can always respect that, and always appreciate when we can explain the way that we vote. So, I was disappointed to not have the piece on the unfunded mandate. When I think about the work of our city commission, I think our MML groups or other groups that are really focused on what is best for cities at the core. I'm interested in what's happening at the federal government. I'm interested in what's happening at state government. But for me, I really want to continue to focus on the things that will advance cities. And sometimes there are things that are presented in legislation that maybe on the surface sound good, but has true financial consequences to the city. And so that will continue to be important to me. And so I hope you all have a good rest of the afternoon. So I'm going to stop talking.
Commissioner Perdue.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Not much comments on our individual items that we voted on today, but do just want to acknowledge that, so much is happening at any given time, not just federally and across the state, but even specifically within our city. Every single commission meeting, we have a 10-page agenda, a packet of agenda items. There's a lot to keep up with. And I know folks right now especially want to be informed and engaged. And so I just want to make sure everyone knows that I am doing regular State of the Ward briefings. They've been online to date. And that's just where I take some time, 30 minutes online, and just let people know what's going on at City Hall, what's going on in the 3rd Ward, and things you could be paying attention to, as well as answering people's specific questions. So if you don't have a whole day available to watch, 10 hours worth of city commission meetings, that might be a really great way to stay in the loop, as well as sign up for the city's Commission Connected email that also has a recap after every meeting. So that's just what I wanted to make sure people know. If you want to sign up to get those invitations, you can go to my website, Purdue for You. That's spelled out, Purdue, FORYOU.com/contact. Sign up and you'll get all the invitations. Thank you.
Commissioner Belcheck.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you to everyone who continues to elevate the discussion and have a robust community engagement at not just these meetings, but at attending the committee meetings, attending the groups out in the neighborhoods and in various places that are doing things in the city. I have said it before. I will continue to say it. We are all part of the city. The city services that we provide are a part of the community just as much as any other thing, but it's all of us together connected. So continuing to do that. And on that, I am very glad to see us celebrating Black History Month and making that proclamation earlier today. I think that the activities that have been going on all month long have been stellar, including the Martin Luther King breakfast, the Giant Awards, and all the little celebrations that are happening in the schools and other places. And along with celebrating, I think it's important to remember and recognize that if you didn't pay attention to our meeting earlier, we did have quite a few honorees from our Environmental Services Department and other service staff in a couple other departments. Really want to highlight and celebrate all the work that James Hurt and his team has been doing, and those folks that have been recognized today. So please look for that and congratulate your employees where you see them. We're serving you every day. And to that end, I do have an open door policy, and I'm happy that people are reaching out. I'm receiving tons of communication from the constituents in the First Ward as well as elsewhere. So please continue to do that when there are problems. We do elevate that. We do have a constituent first response, and I think that this is all very important as we continue to move forward, remembering that you can't pay attention to everything all the time, but that's what we're here to help you do.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Piggybacking off my First Ward colleagues' comments on Public Works, just be mindful of the snow that's coming, and thank you in advance to them for keeping us safe.
Commissioner Knight?
Yeah, everybody said it already. How y'all doing?
That it? All right, Commissioner.
Mine is longer than that. So happy Black History Month again. In honor of Black History Month, so it sort of dovetails with the listening tour that I promised folks as I door knocked this summer. I'll have my first stop on the Third Ward listening tour at the Main Attraction Salon on 28th Street, and that's 6 to 8 p.m. on Friday, February 28th. And how that honors Black history is, as we know in our culture, some of the best conversations happen at salons or barbershops. So I will be there to listen to constituents and neighbors within our city about what matters most to you. And speaking of what matters most, I want to continue to uplift the concerns of the neighbors in the Third Ward who were affected by the water main break. Please continue to consult with your representation and have them communicate with the city so we can atone for this event. Thank you, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do you have any comments? City Attorney?
I do.
All right.
In reference to the water main break, we did receive, after requesting for months, a letter for demand. And as of 2 weeks now, we've been waiting for a corrected version of that demand. So I encourage them to reach out to their council.
Thank you. And City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, for your work today. I want to thank all the city staff who worked to prepare for this meeting and many other duties throughout the city. I want to congratulate, I didn't get an opportunity earlier to remark about our managing director's retirement. This is Mr. Hurt's last city commission meeting, and I want to thank him for his 26 years of service here, as well as what he's done throughout the state in serving on a Public Works Association board, and just been an all-around utility person, no pun intended, for the city. Wherever we've needed him, he's stepped in. So wish him and his family the best, and we certainly will miss him moving forward. Also, just want to highlight a lot of the work that's been done. What I felt today was a lot of pride in our city for standing on the things that have gotten us to this point and continuing to honor our history, our American history that includes people of color, and specifically this month, Black History. So thank you for continuing to be unapologetic about that. I also glad to see we continue our partnership with the Right Place today, this morning, and that is an increased agreement with them to help us with economic attraction and retention. But also, we mentioned the highlighting of the welcoming plan and the partnership that we have with Kent County. And so there was just a lot of things that are advancing our community. The acceptance of the $250,000 for the state grant to continue co-response. You heard the briefing with Network 180 today and the partnership we're having there, as well as I want to thank the OPA and federal support for the $2 million for the Department of Justice Violence Prevention Grant. And that's really going to help keep our community safe. So lastly, I will say this past weekend, this community is very special for a lot of reasons. And the arts is a main contributor to our community, and both from a cultural perspective as well as a placemaking and economic impact. And so I, like many people, were very disappointed to learn of the Festival of the Arts and their board's decision not to have the festival this year. It remains to be seen what happens after this year, and the unique founding it has, and the fact that it was started here at City Hall, Ground Zero. Many years ago. And so as we approach our 175th anniversary of our city, the Calder, Festival of the Arts has been part of that for 55 years. And so hopefully we can continue to find a way to honor them as we reflect on the 175 years that has passed. I want to thank the board and all the members and the volunteers and the community-based organizations for your work over the years, and hopefully you can find a way to still remain connected in the arts.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you for coming today. Certainly want to continue to feel grateful to have such a great, engaged group of colleagues doing this work for the city. And I'll just briefly say that while it can easily seem that the most important thing we should do with our lives is pay attention in the news feeds to figure out what happened 10 minutes ago at the federal level, I remain convinced that it's more important than ever that we roll up our sleeves and figure out how to make Grand Rapids a great city. And to that end, we've had a great start to a series of rolling town halls that we call Mayor's Mondays. There's a website which is simply mayorsmondays.com, and we're going to keep talking about the big basket issues that are of concern in the city until people stop coming and wanting to talk about them, which I hope will never stop. So last month we talked about housing. This month right now we're talking about justice and policing. Next month we're going to talk about neighborhood development and infrastructure. Then we're going to go back to housing. We're going to go back to justice and policing. We're going to go back to neighborhood development and infrastructure, because these are big issues that involve a lot of complex decisions and trade-offs, and more than ever, I hope that those conversations and those policies can really be driven by community conversations, because that's how democracy works when it works best. So I also want to thank, I was struck today by not just Mr. Hurt and the great group he has, but the hard work of a lot of our staff and the folks, all the work that goes into presenting and framing issues and navigating complexity in all of the projects and all the work that the city's doing. So thank you to everyone on the staff for all the hard work that you do. And if I don't thank you enough in the future, forgive me. I always think that part of the job of any organization is to make sure that the people who do the work really feel appreciated and seen and honored. So thank you all, city employees, and thank you all, citizens, for engaging. And we're adjourned.